Let me move on to leadership. What do you see as a difference between vision, philosophy, and style? How do these, if they do, interact for you? Vision, philosophy, style.
Well, you got to be, I think that a great example of style, I don't begrudge style. I don't denigrate it as a political asset. I may not have a lot of it. I'll put it this way. It's not a question of volume, it's a question of kind. I mean, I think I am where I am because somehow or another I have a style that somebody beyond, my mother and me and my wife likes, right? So whatever it is, it's a unique, weird style, but people like it, right? Or I wouldn't be where I am, right? So the style comes in different kinds, and I've never criticized it. For example, people say, well, there's a guy running for office here, Adrian Fenty, good-looking guy, beautiful family, has a wonderful political style. I said, well, you're just criticizing Adrian because of political style. No, I think political style is great. That's part of your arsenal. A great example of political style where someone had a wonderfully defined political style, but I also think did a good job as mayor, wasn't given enough credit, was Willie Brown in San Francisco. Willie, incredible political strategist, probably the best political strategist in California, definitely has a unique political style, all of his own, and is proud of it, and did a great job running the city. He told me this great story. Have you interviewed him in your series?
No.
Oh, you going to interview him?
I don't know if we can get him to come this way.
Oh, you got to talk to Willie, yeah, because, right? He has this great story where this lady called him up at 3 in the morning. She says, I need a new trash can. He goes, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing calling me at 3 in the morning? He says, because it's my house, my can, I need a new one. He says, okay, yes, ma'am. He took her number and all this. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, only Willie would do this. 2 weeks later, 3 o'clock in the morning, he calls her. And he goes, I got you a new trash can. He says, what are you calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning for? It's because it's my government, it's now your can, and I wanted you to know it, so.
Well, take style. And what about philosophy and vision? How do these things balance with you?
To me, the philosophy and the vision come together in the following way. I'm giving you all these platitudes, I know, but another thing is, I was at a conference, and a mayor at the conference was saying, he's referring to people like me, he says, all they talk about is management. We need a vision. We need real leadership. And I'm saying, and I came back my turn, I says, it's not an either-or thing.
No.
You know what I mean? The old Japanese proverb, vision without action is what? Is a daydream. Action without a vision is a nightmare. It's not an either-or thing. It's not like, oh, we're going to have vision, but who cares about action? Or he doesn't run around doing things without any real strategy. You need both. And the vision and the philosophy come together in this way. Your philosophy informs your vision. Your philosophy as a leader informs your vision, but it also has to be informed by your constituents. I would say if your vision for the city, probably about 50–60% of it's going to be you, and 40% of it's going to be your kind of philosophy balanced by, tempered by, interacting with all the inputs you get from your constituents, all these stakeholder groups, blah, 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 blah. And that's informing your vision. The same way it informs what you do. What you do as a leader, I always use a 60-40, 70-30 rule. And what do I mean by that? 60–70% of the time, you're basically taking dinner orders. You are a public servant. And you know how people, when they get some money, they have to be sometimes told how to treat their help in a sensitive, mature way? The public sometimes gets spoiled, and they are brutal to their public servants. They treat their public servants in the way they never would treat someone working in their home or mowing their lawn or something. They treat us like dirt. They just treat us as we're presumed guilty, we're idiots, we're thieves, blah, 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 blah. And this is fed by the media, which creates this vicious cycle, So 30% of the time, you're basically taking dinner orders to your public. And you got to throw red meat out to the public. It's like your shareholders to keep them happy on a short-term basis. But if you're a good leader, and whatever else you say about him, I would put, for example, Abraham Lincoln in this. A lot of the public did not want to be in the Civil War. They were rioting to get out of the Civil War. Whatever motivation you give him. He said, you know, we got to stay in this thing and realize it to the end, and he pulled his electorate along. I would like to think that in some ways I've pulled my electorate along, and a good leader is always going to keep that 30% or 40% that he or she is doing. There are 2 or 3 things that are important to them. Maybe the public doesn't quite get it. Maybe there's tension with the public, but that tension with your public is part of good government. And I'd like to think that over your time in office, if you start at 80% and you leave office at 80%, you ought to look in the mirror and ask why. Because if you came in office at 80% and you left at 80%, did you really invest your political capital? Better that you came in at 80, maybe you went down to 50, maybe went down to 45, but then after you left, people say, oh, damn, person did a lot, or I really appreciate what they did. I really believe that.
Now, does your vision change, or do visions change over time?
Yeah, they do. It's your experience, it's your reading, it's, you know, your interaction with everybody from your family and everybody out. I mean, but a great example of somebody who, I mean, I think if you read the biographies of Dr. King, he certainly went from the chosen prince, was going to run a great church. He didn't really think about all this political stuff. He grew. Bobby Kennedy clearly is a great example of somebody who grew through their experience from being, you know, kind of just a little right-wing hack committee guy to really being a real leader. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I agree. I was thinking about King. I just got the last volume of that trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
By
I haven't read that
Taylor
yet.
Branch.
Yeah.